Vida knew the forest. Every shadow, every rustle of leaves held meaning for her. Raised by her great-uncle in the deep woods, she was more comfortable with the whisper of the wind than the clamor of the town. Her playground had been the tangled paths, her companions the silent trees and the watchful eyes of the wolves. From her uncle, she learned the secrets of the wild. He taught her to track prey, to identify edible plants, to speak the language of the forest. Most importantly, he taught her to respect the delicate balance of nature, a balance he claimed was easily disrupted by the greed of men. Vida felt a kinship with the wolves especially. Their fierce loyalty, their untamed spirit resonated with her own. She would often leave offerings of food at the edge of their territory, earning their trust, their silent acknowledgement. They were her protectors, her family in the heart of the wilderness. But her solitary world shattered with the arrival of José. He was a young man, new to the area, with a smile as bright as the morning sun. He saw past her wildness into her heart. For the first time, Vida knew love, a love as fierce and protective as the wolves she considered kin. José's death was a swift, brutal blow. They found him at the bottom of a ravine, his neck broken, his body battered. The authorities in Kettleton County, the nearest town, ruled it an accident. A tragic fall while hunting, they said. But Vida knew better. She saw the fear in José's eyes before he died, a fear he'd whispered about in hushed tones. Men from town, he said, men with greed in their hearts and darkness in their eyes. They were encroaching on the forest, their hunger for timber and land insatiable. José had opposed them, tried to reason with them, to protect the only home he'd ever known. Now he was gone, and Vida was alone. Grief threatened to consume her, a howling emptiness that mirrored the mournful cries of the wolves. But amidst the pain, a spark of resolve ignited. She would not let his death be in vain. She would find out who was responsible, who had silenced his voice and stolen his future. Kettleton County was a place of shadows and secrets, a town where men like Sheriff Coburn ruled with iron fists and cold smiles. Vida had always steered clear of the town. Now, she ventured in, her senses alert, her hand never straying far from the hunting knife sheathed at her hip. The townsfolk looked at her with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. They saw her as an outsider, a wild thing, a threat to their way of life. Their whispers followed her like the rustling leaves, branding her as a troublemaker, a danger. They muttered about her connection to José, about her defiance of their unspoken rules. But there were others who met her gaze with a flicker of recognition, a shared grief. They were the ones who knew the truth behind José's death, the ones who lived in fear of the men who controlled their lives. They wouldn't speak openly, not yet. But their silence spoke volumes, confirming Vida's suspicions. She was a threat to them, a reminder of their guilt, of the darkness they tried to keep hidden. They wanted her gone, silenced, just like José. Back in the heart of the forest, surrounded by the silent strength of the ancient trees, Vida made her preparations. The wolves, sensing her turmoil, stayed close, their presence a comfort, their keen senses an extension of her own. She would fight, just as they fought to protect their own. She would become the predator, not the prey. She sharpened her hunting knife, the steel gleaming like a sliver of moonlight. She gathered herbs and roots, her uncle's voice echoing in her memory as she identified their properties, healing, strengthening, masking her scent. She moved with a newfound purpose, the wildness that had always been a part of her now sharpened to a razor's edge. As the days turned into weeks, she trained, honing her senses, her reflexes. She moved like a phantom through the trees, silent and deadly. She learned to read the signs of the forest, to anticipate her enemies' moves. She would be ready for them. She would not be caught off guard.